I have a confession to make. I used to not really care about Mega Pokemon. Now, in my defense, I also never played X or Y as a kid. My first game was Ultra Moon, and Megas aren't exactly the most accessible thing in that game, so I never bothered to use them. However, with the release of Legend ZA, things have very much changed. I understand it now. Megas are, well, they're the bee's knees, as they say. The only problem presently is that, unfortunately, some of the new Megas are straight booty buns butt cheeks. The original idea for this video was to just redesign the Megas I didn't like truly didn't like, but that ended up not being a very exhaustive list, so we've pivoted to a much larger undertaking. That being redesigning every new Mega in Legend ZA. This isn't to say my designs will be an improvement, because I really like a lot of these guys, but just more so what I would have rather seen in each design. And obviously, assuming the video length didn't already clue you in, definitely not getting through all of them in this video, absolutely not. This whole shebang is gonna take 3 installments at least, so you better slam that subscribe button and ring-a-ling-a-ding that notification bell. You know, if you want to. But anywho, without further ado, let's get into the first redesign. It's for alligator. So yeah, everybody's favorite toilet bowl. We're starting off with this thing. And the first idea I had was to like just completely switch it to a speedster, which is why I tried to like use a velociraptor body, which I don't entirely hate the concept of, but it just didn't really look like for alligator. So I switched over to trying to just bulk it out as much as I could, and I still tried to make the big jaw work that is in its original design. But I couldn't get it to. So we're just committing to making it as bulky as I possibly could. And I gave it those big gauntlets on its fists because I thought that just looked sick. And you're like, you take a punch from this thing and you are getting knocked out. That shit is hitting like a freight train, which is fun. But yeah, I just tried to make it look imposing, hunched over, fucking fists literally holding it up on the floor because it can barely hold its own weight. But yeah, as for like the coloring and shading and everything, this was literally the first one that I designed, so I wasn't entirely sure what kind of rendering style I was trying to stick to. At first I was just gonna do like some kind of cartoony cell shading, which you'll be seeing come up here in a minute. Yeah. I ditch this and I do a little bit more painterly. I try to copy like the actual Pokemon shading style, but I'm not gonna lie, I do not know how to do that. So after this one, I like just completely abandoned it. I started doing my own thing, and realistically, I should have came back and fixed this one shading to match the others, but I mean, it's too late now. I'm already recording the voiceover, you know, can't go back and fix that. Of course not. I'm definitely not just lazy. But yeah, this is the first redesign. This is Mega Feraligatr Archie Edition. Here's the side-by-side, and let's move on to the next redesign. So, my main gripe with this one is just the big drapes of algae covering its entire body. I feel like, you know, the thing that makes this design so appealing to me is how spindly it looks, and then the Mega just kind of spits in the face of that by covering its whole body in just this bulk, and just muddying up the silhouette more than it really needs to be. So the main goal of this redesign was pretty much to just veer in the total opposite direction and accentuate its twig-like proportions more, which I like to think that I accomplished that, but I don't know, it's kind of hard to go in this direction while actually differentiating it enough from regular Dragalge. So I feel like I've changed enough about it or added enough to it that it looks like its own thing, but I don't know. You'll have to let me know. And I do want to mention that the official artwork for Mega Dragalge did come out after I'd finished this redesign. And honestly, I do like it a lot more just from looking at the official art, because it fixes the main problem that I had with the original design. It actually shows you the body a lot more because of how the algae is like billowing out. So I do like it a lot more just from the official art. Honestly, I kind of like it more than my redesign, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that, okay? But I did have a lot of fun rendering this one. I felt like because I shrunk down the algae so much, I kind of needed to bring more color into it than just the brown of like most of its body. So I tried to give it like a poison tipped kind of effect on its, I guess those would be its claws and the tip of its tail. And you saw that it took me a couple tries to figure out how exactly I wanted that to look. I don't know what I was doing to begin with. I was just messing around with the smudge tool. It did not look very good, but we got there in the end. And then here coming up, I tried to give it like the whole body is sort of like an underwater effect, like the water rippling on its skin and shit. But I don't think I did it very well. I definitely need to practice that more because it doesn't really get the point across, but oh well. So yeah, all that's left is to add some highlights to it and then make the shiny, and then we're done. Yeah, so this is my redesign. Here's the shiny and here's the side by side. Now let's get a move on. We got places. What the fuck?
Hey, you're finally awake.
So I'm not gonna lie, I kind of struggled to figure out an idea for this one, because I feel like Starmie's design is already like kind of perfect. I feel like giving it a mega is kind of redundant because there's not really much you can do with it. But I tried a couple different ideas here. I tried like a shooting star type thing, its energy literally bursting it apart, the backshot monster, and this just other idea for a more like actual star design. And then I was trying to figure out which one of these two I wanted to go with. Ended up going with this one. My idea for this one was to turn into like a fire psychic type instead of water psychic, but yeah, I think I was going a little off the deep end with that thought. It took me until I'd like fully colored it to realize I kind of didn't really like it. I thought it was a little too plain, so I start doing some fucking crazy shit. I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing here, but I bring back the original design and I just trace over, get a fresh copy of it, and then I start going a little crazy with the fucking designs here. I erase all of this eventually, but I figure, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I do really fuck with Mega Starmie, so basically, instead of just stretching out its body, I had the genius idea of the body being like the crystal's energy emanating out of it into the shape of a fucking superhero. So it still has that sort of like aspect of its design, but just executed in a little less of a boring way. This one was also pretty fun to render, both the main body and the like energy coming out of it. The energy is like something I don't really get to shade that often, so that was fun to mess around in. And the body being all these like geometric triangles overlapped on top of each other is really fun to figure out the light source of it and everything. And this design, I decide, kind of needs some like examples on the side of what it would look like in different poses, just because I feel like the like static shot doesn't really give you a good grasp of how it would look moving around. But yeah, this is my Starmie, so let's keep going. Good lord, could you tell I recorded that part at 3 in the morning? Oh. Anyway, next one's Excadrill. Man, Mega Excadrill. I'm so close to liking this one, but there's just something about it. There's just something about it that I cannot find myself to like. It's mostly the like square fucking head that it has and the big round belly. Like this thing's proportions just look a little goofy, which I guess makes sense to be able to support the massive weights on it with the drill, but yeah, And I'm not gonna lie, I think I went a little bit too far into the Chainsaw Man inspiration with this one. Dude, I love Chainsaw Man so much. Actually top 10 media of all time. But yeah, even if this one might be straying a little bit far from Pokemon design philosophies, I feel it's honestly probably my favorite design of this whole batch. But yeah, the main things that I wanted to fix about the design is the face and the body, like I said earlier, as well as I don't know, the drills on the actual design just look a little bit too hefty. Like it looks a little unbalanced with all that meat in the front. So I did shrink those down a little bit, and I just made them look a little scarier. But yeah, this is my Mega Excadrill. Man, I love this thing. Shiny's about what you'd expect. And side by side, God, it looks so fucking goofy, bro. This one, I have less a problem with the concept and more so in the execution, similarly to Starmie. And basically the majority of this redesign is just changing the mane. The rest of the body is relatively unchanged. I did also add some fire to the feet, but yeah, the main point of issue is the mane, as I'm sure most people can agree. Dang, I really don't got much to say about this one. It really is just the same concept. I will say I do like how I rendered the fire here. I don't actually, now that I think about it, I don't really render fire that often, but you know what? It looks pretty damn good. And I do got another fire type coming up here soon, so we're gonna see another go around at that. I guess since I'm not talking about the drawing, I'll talk about the music. Aside from the intro, where I had the ZA nighttime theme, I made all this myself, so, tell me what you think in the comments below. And also tell me what you think of the designs, the main point of the video. But anyway, here's Mega Pyro, Me Edition. Mega Scrafty. I'm gonna be real, this one might take the cake for the most unchanged from the original design. The only thing I really wanted to change was the length of the jacket, I guess, technically. The dead skin pretending to be a jacket. I don't know, I feel like it looks a lot cooler draping all the way down to the ground rather than ending at its ankles. I had to take a chunk out of the feet. They looked way too much like slippers. And that face was also a bit of a problem. Took a couple tries to get the proportions right, but we got there. Damn, I just noticed I forgot to put some rips in the pants. Damn, that sucks. The shading on this one was relatively straightforward, most of it being the same color. I honestly wish I chose a little bit of a different color for the skin jacket, but it's too late. Even despite the lack of holes and the color of the jacket, I do still really like this one. So yeah, here it is. Barbarical. What were those legs? Honestly, I do really fuck with Barbaricle's Mega, but I also would have appreciated if it actually went in a more barbarian direction instead of just looking like a Disney supervillain. This is honestly probably my least favorite of the batch that I made. It's not that I like dislike the design, it's just that the way I drew it is a little awkward. Like, I guess what I mean is that this feels like a 2D image. The other ones I think have a decent amount of dimensionality to them, but this one you can kind of like feel is an image, if that makes sense. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to make it feel more like a monster, because the other one looks a little bit too composed for what I imagine Barbaricle's like disposition is. This boy cracking out the thesaurus. I actually did have one of these on my team during my playthrough. One of the actual ones, obviously, not my redesign. Her name was Barbie, and she was the GOAT. She clutched so many fights. I honestly love the shading I did on all the rocks around its body. I feel like that's definitely the best part of the whole drawing. Damn, speak. One thing that I did steal straight from the original design is the head putting up the devil horns, because that's actually just some absolutely phenomenal character design. Little fun info about Barbie is that she was a shiny Barbaricle, much like the rest of my team in that game. But yeah, here we are. Here's my Barbaricle. Enjoy.
Hello?
You know what? While we're on the topic, why don't we just run through the whole team? Why don't we just run through all of them? We got Barbie the Barbaricle, the Dewblade, Bastard, and Claymore, Betty Drill the Beedrill, Phalanx, I called Mercs, Uke the Electros, and damn, who was the last teammate? Honestly, my last teammate switched a lot, but I'm gonna just say that it was Vanilla, the Meowstick. Should I talk about the drawing? That might be a good idea. The concept doesn't really change much from the real chandelier, because you can't really change much, you know. Chandelier becomes a bigger chandelier, fucking groundbreaking. The main things that I changed were the fire coming out of its eye on some Sans the Skeleton timing, and I changed its candles to look like little lit wicks sitting on the ends of its arms, because I thought that looked cute. Shading the fire on this one was fun, like it was on Pyroar. I need to start making more fire. Not on some arsonist shit though. Something that I do really like in the official design though is the gold gradient coming up from the bottom of its body. I thought that looked really nice, and I kind of wish I added it to this, but oh well. Thought the candles looked a little boring, so I added some eyes to them, make them look like some souls trapped inside of it or whatever. Some lore. But yeah, here we are, my mega chandelier, and the last design of the video. Thanks for sticking around this far if you did. So that's the video. That's all the megas that I have prepared for you today. Technically there is another one, but I was looking back at it while editing this video, and I need to redesign it. Like, it's so bad, I need to redesign it. It was fluid, I hate how I drew the flower. But yeah, thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around and listening to me ramble about a bunch of nothing for about 20 minutes. Really do appreciate it, and I hope I see you in the next video. Make sure to like and subscribe and all that, and goodbye. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Goodbye. Bye.